Hey everybody, it's Mr. Marshall here at Stony Lane. I have a book for you. This is a nonfiction book that is written as a picture book, and it's called Balderdash. It's the story of John Newbery and the boisterous birth of children's books. Because a long time ago, they didn't have different books for children, right? And so we're going to find out about that. Okay, Balderdash. Welcome. This book's for you. Every page, every picture, every word, and even its letters are designed for your pleasure. Lucky, lucky reader. Be glad it's not 1726. Let's find out what that means. In those days of powdered wigs and petticoats, England was brimming with books. Books of pirates and monsters and miniature people, tales of travels and quests and shipwrecks and crimes. At the fairs, in the market stalls, in the bookshop windows were hundreds of wonderful books. But not for children. Totally true. Let's find out. Oh no, children had to read preachy poems and fables, religious texts that made them fear that death was near, and manuals that told them where to stand and how to sit, not to laugh, and scores of other rules. Because the future champion of children's books was just a lad. That's him right there. His name was John Newbery. The boy lived on a farm, but fancied reading more than forking hay, so upon coming of age, he set off to work for a printer. He got a kick out of type sticks and type stands and chases and coins, and he loved galleys and presses and the smell of fresh ink. And as soon as he was able, John became a publisher himself. Then he went big time. He moved to London, the center of bookselling. See that? Old London Bridge. Smack dab in the heart of the book marketplace in St. Paul's churchyard, he found the place for a store. Brilliant! The streets were bustling with tradesmen, doctors, lawyers, clerks, and many other eager readers. Everybody's reading, huh? John wanted to publish fine books for the whole lot of them and for their children. He knew that the youngsters were hungry for stories. Many boys and girls handed suppers to street hawkers for ugly chapbooks of fairy tales or for chopped-up versions of grown-up books. John liked children. Why shouldn't they have delightful books of their own? John, what were you thinking? What about the parents? Many mums and dads worried that if their little nippers read from books, they'd turn wild as savages. That's right, a long time ago, people didn't think kids needed their own books. They just wanted them looking at certain kinds of books. Balderdash, which is a big fancy word that means no way. Reading should be a treat for children. That's what a famous philosopher wrote, and John agreed. So did two other publishers. One issued a book with alphabet rhymes and well-known stories, and the other printed itty-bitty books about animals, plants, and local buildings. Can you imagine not having books that are written for kids? John wanted his first book for children to be irresistible. They'd be letters from Jack the Giant Killer. They'd be pictures of Pitch and Hustle, Hoop and Hide, and Blind Man's Bluff, and other children's games, plus ABCs and proverbs and other classical material, and for extra punch, a message to mums and dads. He ordered gilt floral paper for covers and titled his creations A Little Pretty Pocketbook. Price of book alone, 6d. With a ball or a pincushion, 8d. The notice read. A book and a toy? Why hadn't anyone else thought of that? Then John set his bright books to the window of his store and wondered, will the parents buy them? Are they too cheerful? The children gobbled them up like plum cakes. When we read a book about a person's life, about a famous person's life, we try to think about some of the things that might be important and why that person would be important enough for someone to have written a book about them. It sounds like John Newbery did something pretty important, right? He created the idea of having books that are for kids. John thought if they liked fun, attractive books, they'd probably like a magazine too. Grown-ups read magazines, why shouldn't children? A magazine with rhymes, riddles, recipes, stories adorned with crisp copperplate engravings. Working in the back of his bookshop or chatting with his chums in the tavern, John's mind bubbled with more ideas. For older children, he printed books about arithmetic, geography, astronomy, and other subjects, including one taught by a pretend boy philosopher named Tom Telescope. Then John came up with his most ingenious product for youngsters yet, a novel. It means a chapter book. Grown-ups were reading novels. Why shouldn't little masters and ladies? One long, luscious story to savor for several days. The history of little Goody Two-Shoes is about a raggedy orphan who is left to wander the roads. Despite many misfortunes, the girl betters herself. She carves her own alphabet blocks and teaches poor children. She strolls around with a dog, a lamb, and various birds that she has rescued and educated. Ralph, her pet raven, even writes poems. Though she starts off penniless, Goody ends up marrying a country squire rich enough to own a coach and 6, meaning a coach and 6 horses, right? A coach and 6, in those days, that was like riding in a luxury car. Goody went from rags to riches without a fairy godmother. She did it through study, hard work, and kindness. You can too, the book was saying, and John believed it. Goody Two-Shoes became a smash hit, both in England and across the ocean in America, and to this day, its author is a mystery. All the books John published for his little friends, as he called the young readers, were written anonymously or by people with silly made-up names. Another one of John's books was about a tumultuous fair, and its dedication was signed, you know who. But everyone knew who. Who else had a shop that sold ABC books and gift books, books about Tom Thumb and Giles Gingerbread, books of jokes and riddles, books of science, history, and geography that were loved so hard, that were thumbed so often that they came apart at the spine? Who else sold thousands of copies, inspiring other publishers to start making delightful books for young people? John Newbery, the father of children's literature. Huzzah! Look at this. It says the grand design in the nurture of children is to make them strong, hardy, healthy, virtuous, wise, and happy. John Newbery. So yeah, it sounds like John Newbery really changed the world, didn't he? He had an idea to get more and more people to read, especially children. Up until that time, kids didn't have a lot of choices in what they could read. And they kind of just read what grown-ups wanted them to read. And there's more information in the back here that tells you more of things that you can read to learn more about this topic. Look at that beautiful end paper. And that's the end. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you learned something from it. In fact, there's a famous award called the Newbery Award that's given to books that are written that are really good books for kids. Okay, and it's named after John Newbery. Okay, hope you enjoyed this book. I'll see you next time.